Madison had always been an inherently compassionate girl. Her kindness had shone brightly since childhood. Raised by her grandmother, Madison was nurtured with love and care. Her parents, both doctors working abroad, ensured that their absence wouldn't leave a void in her life. They trusted her grandmother completely with her upbringing. When Madison was 7, her grandmother, who was also the school principal, provided her with both education and affection. Madison knew little about her missing grandfather, as her grandma explained that he had been absent for many years. She understood her parents' need to work overseas and refrained from asking unnecessary questions. Their return felt distant. They resided in a quaint cottage nestled among the hills in a charming valley town. Madison developed a fondness for tending to the plants in a small vegetable garden and flower bed. She diligently watered them, ensuring no flower went neglected. Her grandmother took pride in her little helper, understanding Madison's longing for her parents, but also knowing it was impossible for them to return frequently. When Madison turned 15, tragedy struck. Her parents perished in a plane crash on their way back home. The news devastated the teenage girl, rendering her unable to find solace or words to describe her anguish. Madison's life underwent a profound transformation. Her smiles faded, and the anticipation of her parents' return ceased to warm her heart. Her grandmother's health deteriorated significantly due to the loss, and Madison did her utmost to care for her. Several more years passed, and Madison graduated from high school. She had no immediate plans for further education, but her desire to help people, much like her parents, burned within her. Medicine didn't pique her interest, though. Like many teenagers, Madison was uncertain about her future. By chance, she stumbled upon an advertisement for a makeup course, and the idea intrigued her. Madison became a makeup artist, following her newfound passion. At 26, she contemplated moving to the capital. Initially hesitant to leave her ailing grandmother alone, Madison received her blessing. "Don't worry about me, I'll manage. It's time for you to think about your future, find your place in life, and create your own path," her grandmother encouraged her. With her grandmother's unwavering support, Madison finally made the decision to leave her town and friends in search of a brighter future. The capital proved to be grander than she had imagined, with its stunning architecture and landscapes. Madison swiftly found a suitable apartment and secured a job at one of the city's esteemed beauty salons. Soon, she built her own clientele, and her career soared. However, her personal life remained unchanged, as Madison remained immersed in her beloved work, leaving little room for romantic pursuits. Every weekend, Madison made it a point to visit her grandmother. One day, as she was returning home, fate intervened when she encountered a flat tire just a few kilometers from her house. The rain was pouring heavily, leaving Madison feeling utterly upset and frustrated. Little did she know that this inconvenience would turn out to be a twist of fate. Madison grabbed her umbrella, stepped out of the car, and inspected the tire. To her dismay, she found a self-tapping screw embedded in it. She removed the screw but couldn't drive any further. Perplexed, she sat in her car contemplating her next move. Although Madison had a spare tire in her trunk, she lacked the necessary tools and knowledge to change it. Desperate, she watched several online tutorials, hoping to figure it out. Just as she was trying to muster the courage to attempt the tire change, an unfamiliar man approached in a black SUV. The stranger noticed Madison's predicament and decided to lend a hand. He greeted her warmly. "Hello, let me help you." Madison was taken aback when she turned around to see a tall, handsome man standing before her. Feeling tongue-tied and overwhelmed, she managed to stammer, "If you don't mind, please help me. I got a flat tire and I have no idea how to fix it. I looked on the internet, but unfortunately, I don't have the necessary tools at this moment." Madison felt like she'd lost her ability to speak coherently in the presence of this attractive stranger. He looked surprised, but went to his car. Madison noticed it was a fancy black SUV. After a few minutes, he returned and skillfully changed the tire while Madison held an umbrella to shield him from the rain. Once the job was done, the stranger prepared to leave, but Madison stopped him. "Wait, please wait a second," she called out, rushing to her car to find her purse. "How much do I owe you? You just saved my life." The stranger chuckled, dismissing the idea of payment. "I only helped you because you were in trouble, not to make money." Madison was puzzled but grateful. "Then how can I thank you?" she asked. "If you give me your phone number, it would be better than any thank you," he replied with a smile. Madison blushed profusely, clearly flattered by the man's attention. She quickly handed him a business card from her purse. "So you're a makeup artist and your name is Madison," he remarked. "I'll definitely call you. Goodbye." With that, the stranger left, leaving Madison standing in the rain, still stunned by the unexpected encounter. It dawned on her that she hadn't even asked for his name. Back home, Madison couldn't stop thinking about her mysterious savior. She drifted into dreams, imagining a future with him, though she felt embarrassed about her presumptuous thoughts. Despite her anxious anticipation, he never called in the following days. Disappointment washed over Madison as days turned into weeks without a word from the stranger. She kept her phone close, hoping for a call that never came. To distract herself, she spent an evening at her grandmother's house, attending to the neglected household chores. Exhausted, she finally went to bed, falling into a deep slumber, still haunted by the memory of the enigmatic man. The grandmother gazed fondly at her slumbering granddaughter, seeing her as the same little girl she never expressed, but deeply harbored concerns for, especially as Madison neared her 30th birthday without being married. The following evening, Madison returned to the capital, greeted by overcast skies. As she approached the driveway, she noticed an elderly man sitting on a bench, enduring the light rain in a thin overcoat. Madison couldn't simply pass by. She approached the man, asking why he was alone on such a rainy evening. The man explained his predicament, having been discharged a day early from the hospital after a checkup. He had accidentally dropped his phone in a pond while strolling in the park, making it impossible to contact his family. His son or daughter was supposed to pick him up the next morning, but now he had no way to reach them. Madison couldn't leave the elderly man in such a predicament and offered him a place to spend the night. However, he politely declined, not wanting to inconvenience her. Despite her attempts to persuade him otherwise, he agreed only to sleep in her car. Madison gave him the car keys, retrieved a pillow from the trunk, and handed it over. The man expressed his gratitude, and Madison returned home. Though she felt unsettled, Madison couldn't persuade the old man to stay in her apartment. In the end, she prepared dinner, packed it in a container, made tea, and provided a warm blanket, which she brought to the car. She handed everything over to the old man and asked him to leave the keys in the mailbox if he left before she woke up. It was a restless night for Madison. She frequently checked on the old man through the window. In the late morning, an unfamiliar caller inquired if her phone number was linked to her bank account. Assuming it was a scam, Madison hung up. Afterward, she received an SMS from the bank, stating that a substantial sum of money had been deposited into her account. Astonished, she counted the zeros and confirmed the deposit via mobile banking. Madison rushed to the nearest bank branch to trace the source of the funds, but the bank could only provide the sender's name, which she didn't recognize. Her confusion deepened when she noticed that the sender's last name was the same as hers. Recalling the morning call, she dialed the number. "Hello, did you call me this morning?" "Yes, I did. Did you receive the money in your account? So you're the one who transferred such a large sum. I wouldn't call it very large. You deserve a substantial reward for what you did." Madison was puzzled, insisting she hadn't done anything out of the ordinary. She even offered to return the money and asked for the father's name. "Are you kidding me? I didn't do anything unusual. I'm going to give your money back. By the way, what's your father's name?" Regrettably, I hadn't inquired about it yesterday when the man had replied that his name was Jamie Smith. Madison found herself considerably surprised. It was the same name as her grandfather's, the one who had disappeared many years ago. Too many surprises and coincidences for a single morning, but Madison had an intuitive sense that there was an untold story she had yet to discover. So, when the man suggested she visit and sort things out in person, she agreed. 3 days later, she traveled to their city. Mr. Jamie's relatives greeted her at the railway station and took her to an impressive mansion. She had never set foot in such a magnificent house before, having only seen such places on television. At the doorstep, the same elderly man welcomed her warmly, referring to her as his granddaughter. Madison was at a loss for words. The old man noticed her astonishment and explained that he had seen her driver's license in the car, which revealed her true identity. He also noted that she bore a strong resemblance to her father. He proceeded to confess that her grandmother and he had divorced long ago, well before Madison was born. He took full responsibility for his infidelity and acknowledged that he couldn't excuse his actions. To everyone, he had simply vanished, and he recounted how he had visited her grandmother multiple times, pleading for forgiveness. However, she had never been able to forgive him. Furthermore, she had forbidden him from contacting his son. Tears welled up in the old man's eyes as he recounted his story. He marveled at the incredible coincidence of their meeting, considering the vastness of the world. He expressed his joy at having found her and apologized for taking so long to do so. Her grandfather's story was extensive, and through it, Madison realized that she had numerous relatives, and her grandfather still harbored hopes of reconciling with her grandmother. They conversed for an extended period, but suddenly, Madison's phone rang. It was the stranger who had helped her change her tire. He explained that he had lost her business card and felt upset about it. Fortunately, he remembered the name of the beauty salon, and a colleague provided him with her number. Madison breathed a sigh of relief, realizing that her savior hadn't forgotten her, and the long silence was easily explained. Life began to take a turn for the better from all directions. Most importantly, Madison came to understand that optimism, belief in miracles, and faith in a higher plan were essential facets of life.